has Sophie Cunningham been all game in the first half? Like, wait, where's Sophie Cunningham been all game? Are they like messing with Sophie Cunningham's minutes? Is this like kind of like punishment? I don't want to say it was, but it kind of feels like a little bit of, it kind of feels like minutes restrict.
That need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that. But I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone. I can't applaud her enough. This notion that you're hating on the trans community because you are not a proponent of them participating in female sports is utterly ridiculous. Sophie Cunningham said every word right on the money. There's no hate involved. There's only love we're talking about. But what happened to loving girls who are born biologically as girls? What about their rights? What about fairness associated to them?
Sophie Cunningham sparked major attention with a calm but powerful statement. She didn't insult anyone, attack a teammate, or create drama. During an ESPN interview, a reporter asked her a direct question, and she answered without hesitation. Cunningham said she believes women's sports should stay fair, young girls should feel safe in locker rooms, and female athletes deserve a level playing field. Her simple response quickly ignited a heated debate, with supporters praising her for speaking up while critics challenged her views.
Investor of ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that? I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that. You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports were protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really...
That was it. Those few words became the center of a massive controversy almost overnight. Within just 48 hours, Sophie Cunningham's comments exploded across social media and sports news, turning into one of the biggest stories in the WNBA. Instead of celebrating the All-Star weekend and the best players in the league, everyone was suddenly arguing about her statement. The focus shifted away from basketball, and the entire conversation became about what Sophie said and the debate it sparked.
Cunningham just said what Simone Biles and Megan Rapinoe have refused to say. In an interview with ESPN, Cunningham blatantly said that she does not want biological men in women and girls sports. What Cunningham said is just common sense. But obviously, in female sports, this is considered incredibly courageous, because while Riley Gaines has fought tooth and nail along with other women and girls to keep their sports female, Serena Williams, A'ja Wilson, Paige Beckers, Katie Ledecky, Coco Gauff, you name it, have been silent, or they've actually supported men and women's sports. So in a sports world full of Megan Rapinoes,
the reaction was instant, and once you compare what Sophie actually said with the headlines, it feels surprisingly overblown. News outlets started acting as if she had caused a huge meltdown or said something dangerous, when in reality she simply expressed a view that many ordinary sports fans quietly hold but rarely hear a professional athlete say openly. That gap between her calm answer and the dramatic coverage is what made the controversy seem so much bigger than the words themselves.
In women's sports, it's completely ludicrous that anyone could support that. It's even more ludicrous that you do have Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is astonishing. They are clearly very out of touch with the American public on this issue, which again is an 80-20 issue. It's common sense. It's rooted in basic biological fact that men should not be competing against women on playing fields across the country.
And I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room, you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love. But I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community.
What happened next may have been even more important than the original comment. Many athletes face tough questions, sense the pressure in the room, and quickly try to explain or take back what they said. Sophie Cunningham did the opposite. She didn't change her message or soften her position just because the questions became more intense. She wasn't trying to create headlines or stir up controversy for attention. She simply stood by her beliefs, even when it became uncomfortable.
Is not some radical. She is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to female athletes speaking out about biological men in women's sports. Like right now, she's going viral for saying, I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in a sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. And then these journalists reporting on the WNBA started grilling her, trying to see if they could get her to walk it back, and she just stands her ground and goes, I said what I said. First of all, heck yeah for not backing down, which we all knew that she wouldn't because she's that way on the court too. She doesn't really care if she makes anybody angry. But I really do think, even though she is obviously uniquely bold on these sorts of issues, I really do think that the temperature is beginning to change, because biological men in women's sports is the clearest example of this ideology being taken too far. The clearest example of something that is so far detached from reality that you're going to have a hard time getting average, normal, everyday people to accept it. Public opinion data on this agrees. Back in 2023, 67% of people were opposed to biological men in women's sports. New York Times released data from last year. It is almost 80% of people that are opposed to that now. So the less than 20% of people who still think that this should be allowed.
Sophie Cunningham has become one of the most talked about voices in women's sports after refusing to back away from her comments. She said she believes young girls deserve fair competition and should not have to compete against biological males in women's sports or share locker rooms with them. When reporters repeatedly asked if she wanted to change or soften her words, she simply stood by what she had already said.
Leads the league behind Aaliyah Boston with the highest percentage of three-pointers made. Sophie Cunningham leads that behind Aaliyah Boston. And for whatever reason, the WNBA hating the fact that Sophie Cunningham is a straight white female, hating the fact that Sophie Cunningham is using the brain cells that she has and is understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats, her standing 10 toes down behind Caitlin Clark, her becoming popular in her own right. That's just unacceptable to the WNBA. So she was not one of the participants chosen for the three-point shooting contest. The WNBA just hates publicity. They love standing in their own way. Any type of anything that's going to bring more eyes, more viewership to the league, if it's not with their agenda that they're walking 10 toes for, they don't like.
Sophie Cunningham supporters pointed to another controversy when she was left out of the WNBA's three-point contest despite having one of the league's best three-point shooting percentages at the time. Some fans argued she deserved a spot based on her performance, while others believed the league missed a chance to feature one of its fastest-growing personalities. Critics of the decision claimed the WNBA often overlooks players who attract major attention but don't fit the league's preferred image, although the league has not said that was a factor.
Played 7 minutes in the first half after doubling down on what she said. Folks, I don't remember Sophie Cunningham playing 7 minutes in a first half all season long in the game that she's played in. But then after that, you have the Indiana Fever putting out a statement. Our players are thoughtful adults with their own perspectives and voices, and those views are their own. We are committed to welcoming fans from every background and treating everyone with respect. And that's what guides us as an organization. So the Fever are saying we are committed to welcoming fans from every background.
Questions didn't stop after just one game. Over her recent stretch of games, Sophie Cunningham has been averaging fewer than 23 minutes per night, which many fans see as surprisingly low for a key bench player who has consistently provided scoring and energy for Indiana. When a productive player suddenly sees fewer minutes, it's natural for people to wonder why. Some supporters began speculating that the timing was unusual, since the reduced playing time came shortly after her comments became a major national story.
We've got to continue to support our players in our league. We get to play a basketball game. And AT was exactly right. We get to play a basketball game. And yes, that's going to come with criticism. Yes, that's going to come with fans and the love-hate relationship that they have with players and teams. That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league
is about inclusiveness.
Do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition.
Our league is about competition.
Our league is about elevating.
Our league is about elevating.
Elevating women.
Elevating women.
Elevating marginalized communities.
Elevating marginalized communities.
Including and being inclusive of all different.
When reporters asked head coach Stephanie White about Sophie Cunningham's reduced playing time, they did not get a detailed explanation. There was no mention of an injury or a specific basketball reason such as difficult matchups, foul trouble, or a change in strategy. Instead, White gave a general answer about doing what was best for the team, which many fans felt did little to explain the decision. The timing fueled even more discussion because it came during the same week Sophie was facing intense national attention over her comments about women's sports.
Really, is it transphobic to say that men don't have a place in women's sports? Men should play with their own team as men, unless it's a co-ed league, which this is not what we're talking about. Is that transphobic? You know, she's not transphobic. What she is real. And that's why they hate her. I like her. People are going to hate on you when you speak the truth. She speaks the truth.
Fans noticed the situation as it unfolded, and the reaction was easy to see across social media during the live broadcast. Many questioned why Sophie Cunningham, one of Indiana's most energetic and physical players and a fan favorite, spent so much time on the bench during key moments of a close game. The timing also caught people's attention. Her reduced role came during the same week her comments about women's sports became a major national story, leading many fans to ask whether the two events were connected.
It's cool. It's funny what kind of people are attracted to. You know, I'm just trying to keep the main thing. The main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates. And that's all part of it. I think all that stuff it's fun and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we need to win some basketball games. I'm just going to be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. You know, I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, you know, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player.
What has made this story resonate with so many fans is Sophie's reputation long before the controversy began. She has always been known as a player who speaks her mind, competes with passion, and never hesitates to defend her teammates. Whether she's talking trash, playing with intensity, or standing up for teammates during heated moments, she's built a reputation for being fearless and authentic. Many fans admire her because she doesn't rely on carefully scripted answers or polished media talking points. Instead, she says what she believes and accepts the criticism that comes with it. Caitlin Clark has also become part of the conversation because she and Sophie Cunningham have developed a strong connection throughout the season, both on the court and off it. Clark has faced intense media attention and criticism since entering the WNBA, with many discussions extending far beyond her actual performance. Supporters of both players argue that they have helped bring new fans and greater attention to the league. When Sophie later saw her playing time reduced during the same week her comments became a major national story, some fans questioned the timing and wondered if there was a connection. However, there is no public evidence that her minutes were reduced because of her views.
Face. The WNBA doesn't even want to admit that Caitlin Clark is the face. They just want to keep using her for her name and her notoriety only. But this is why the WNBA All-Star Weekend is such a joke. It's such a laughable fucking minstrel show. You're telling me all the viral moments that Sophie Cunningham has had over the last 6 months. And the fact that, again, Sophie Cunningham behind Aaliyah Boston leads the WNBA in three-point percentages made, and yet you don't ask her to be a participant in the three-point shooting contest? I'm telling you, this league hates publicity. It hates being able to realize that those people who want to support Caitlin Clark, who want to support the face of the league because they understand in its entirety that it makes everybody else popular, that's too much for the execs of the WNBA. That's way too.
For many fans, the most frustrating part wasn't the debate, it was missing the chance to watch one of their favorite players. People bought tickets, made time to watch, and expected to see Sophie Cunningham play a bigger role during one of the most talked about weeks of the season. Instead, they watched her log fewer minutes than usual just as she became the center of a national controversy. That timing led many fans to question whether it was simply a basketball decision or something more. However, there is no public evidence that her reduced playing time was connected to her comments. Regardless of where people stand on her views, many supporters say they simply wanted to see her compete.
Caitlin Clark going into the WNBA to post. Ready? Pre-2023. She went in 2023. Average viewership, Vinny, national TV audience per game, 462,000.
Some people online have even suggested that Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark should leave the WNBA, arguing that outspoken players are not treated fairly. Neither Sophie nor Caitlin has made any public statement suggesting they plan to do that, making those claims purely fan speculation. Many supporters say their frustration comes from seeing Sophie receive fewer minutes during the same week her comments sparked national attention. While some believe the timing raises legitimate questions, there is no public evidence that her playing time was reduced because of her views.